Say when you stand up for one person's rights, you're standing up for everybody's rights. So I'm going to be making a phone call that you might find a little interesting.
You have reached the Ohio State Highway Patrol. Press 1 for Turnpike Emergency Dispatch. Press 2 for Cleveland Area Emergency Dispatch. Press 3 for salvage titles and vehicle inspections. Press 4 for the Court Liaison Sergeant. Press 5 for Cleveland Post 18. Press 6 for administrative staff. Press 7 for licensing and commercial vehicles. Press 8 for criminal investigations. Press 9 for district staff offices. Press 0 for an operator. Press pound to hear the message again. Good, so can I help you?
Yes, is this an officer that I'm actually speaking with?
No.
No. Am I able to be put in contact with a lieutenant by any chance?
Lieutenant is not here. She'll be here, I think, at 7 or so.
In the morning?
Yeah.
Around. Okay, I've been unable to get a hold of Cleveland Police Department, and I'm calling is Free Press, and I had seen an incident on the World Wide Web on social media, and it was very disconcerting. And the reason I wanted to speak with the lieutenant was because I was unable to get a hold of anyone with the Cleveland Police Department. There were a couple very disconcerting issues. I've noticed on your guys' state legislative, you guys refer to it as the General Assembly. I'd like to try to make a negative issue, a historical event that was the Toledo Strip War, and maybe we can turn it into something positive. So the rhyme and reason I was calling is I had seen a gentleman. He got cited for having his business open, and in the video that was worn by the officer, that it was verbatim. She said, "We don't work by word of mouth." But under Article 1, Section 11 of the Ohio State Constitution, is there a sergeant available?
Hold on a minute.
Perfect. Okay. That'll work.
State Highway Patrol Sergeant Houndshell speaking.
Sergeant who?
Houndshell?
Houndshell. Mr. Houndshell, my name is Corey Firestone. I'm calling with my hat on as a member of the Free Press. And I had came across a video on social media that was very disconcerting. It's a little close to home. I'm not in the state of Ohio, but not too far away. I had on the video that I had seen on social media, the officer that had her body cam on. I'm calling the state patrol because I wasn't able to get a hold of anyone with the Cleveland Police Department. And the lady said, word for word, as she was handing him the citation, "We don't work by word of mouth." But Article 1, Section 11 of the Ohio State Constitution, it says every citizen may freely speak, write, and publish his sentiments on all subjects, being responsible for the abuse of such right, and no law shall be passed to restrain or abridge the liberty of speech or of the press. In all criminal prosecutions for libels, the truth may be given in evidence to the jury that the matter charged as libus is true and was published with good motives and for justifiable ends. The parties shall be acquitted. I find it very disconcerting that she wasn't honoring her oath. And I suppose the rhyme and reason I'm calling the Ohio State Patrol is there was a historical event that happened. It was called the Toledo Strip War, and it was between the state of Michigan and Ohio. And so I figured, coming from the state of Michigan, maybe we could make something positive out of a negative event that had occurred in the past.
Well, what did the officer do wrong? That's
Well, let, all right. We don't work by word of mouth. What is that?
well, I don't know the
That's
context either, though.
she she abridged his freedom of speech.
How did she do that? That's what I'm asking. Like, she gave him a citation. It doesn't
She
really
gave
have
him the citation, and she said verbatim, we don't work by word of mouth. But she does, apparently, because the only reason she gave the citation was because of the watch commander saying so.
Yeah, but it's also, when it comes to citations in the state of Ohio, we can write citations based on another officer's observations.
That is a thing in Ohio. Okay. It is just very disconcerting, and I suppose the main reason I am calling is because it is a little close to home, and I'm surprised that your guys' constitution, the state constitution, actually lays this out. But in Article 1, Section 2, it actually says all political power is inherent in the people. Government is instituted for their equal protection and benefit, and they have the right to alter, reform, or abolish the same whenever they deem it necessary, and no special privileges or immunities shall ever be granted that may be altered, revoked, or replaced by the General Assembly. And so I guess to sum it up, the reason I'm calling, and this will put it into more layman terms as to why I would be calling. So when the three branches of government, you guys refer to your House of Representative and Senate as the General Assembly. You do you personally know what the three branches of government are?
Yes, I do, sir.
So you have what? You have your executive.
Legislative, executive, and judicial.
Perfect. Okay. And do you know who has the authority within those three branches of government to make law?
To make their, well, I mean,
To make law.
law, if you're just creating law, it's going to be your legislative branch. But there's also
Thank
state
you.
law and the
That's why
judicial.
that is why it's disconcerting to see something like that happening. Not too far from home is the fact that by your own admission and by just what basic reasoning and logic says is that your three branches of government, your legislative, judicial, and executive, it doesn't say that the executive has the power to make law, but it seems to be the case now. Does that make sense?
I mean, and if the person does have an issue with the citation, they're given
I
it.
mean, he will have his day in court, thankfully. But that's where my concern is that it just seems to be that it's not the legislative that makes the law anymore. That's the main reason I'm calling and trying to make something that was a negative event in our two states' histories maybe positive.
Yeah, I mean, we all, have different views at times. Honestly, I'm just a little fish out with the State Highway Patrol. That's more of something you'd have to take to, like, the governor's office.
Right, and that's the whole thing is that not just your state by from the looks of it, but our states as well. The legislature has been neutered when they are not making laws, when our laws sit on the shelves and don't pass. And now we have the executives that are making the laws or what people perceive to be the law. That's the main reason I'm calling. I mean, it is disconcerting. And that you have law enforcement actually citing small business owners. That's very disconcerting, and that it wasn't that the legislature didn't order the stay home or whatever. It wasn't. I mean, I could understand if the legislature had.
Happening in today's day and age, especially with governors passing orders. Unfortunately, that's, like I said, that's way above my pay grade, you know what I mean?
Understandable. and I do respect you more than what you realize for at least even having this conversation. You know,
Yeah, and like
I
I
mean
know
it.
with us, like especially us, the state highway patrol. I mean, we're not very few, if at all. I mean, we don't even ask the question typically where people are going right now, just because
Right.
we're
Okay.
not enforcing the stay-at-home order.
Which is good. Thank you. I mean that. Thank you. If
So
that's the
we
case,
can't
if the highway
control
patrol
the
isn't
police departments. We can only do what we do. You know what I mean?
right, limited. Yes, understandable. But no, it was just disconcerting, and I wasn't able to get a hold of Cleveland PD. You know,
Yeah,
that's why
they're
I
pretty
took it to
typically
you.
hard to get a hold of when it comes to stuff like that. The only thing I could direct you to is maybe a public records request for the body cam with all the footage.
It's already online. It's already out there. But I just it was disconcerting that I felt the urge to you know let you know, they say when you stand up for one person's rights, you're standing up for everybody's, and you know
Yeah,
that's
no, definitely.
you
I
know
hear you, man. That's why when in this job, everything, the decisions I make are all based on, people's rights and our Constitution. I'm not
and I honor that.
I'm all about people's rights. That's why, personally, not speaking from the Highway Patrol perspective, personally, I'm waiting to see someone start suing states and stuff for how far they're taking this.
Right. Okay. And it's
Like I said,
happening.
our state agency, we're not typically enforcing the stay-at-home order right now anyway.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And in the court of popular opinion, that is pleasing to hear. So, I definitely appreciate that. And you know, you at least listening to a concern from somebody within the constituency anyway.
Yeah, definitely. And, good luck with everything. And like I said, unfortunately, our agency can't control the smaller local departments or any local departments. You know what I mean?
Completely understandable. Oh, yes. Completely understandable.
So hopefully the person that got cited, if they feel that it is wrong, hopefully they can, invoke the right to due process, have a trial and see where it goes.
Yes. Have justice served. And
Yep.
you know, yes.
Because you have to remember, everyone that writes those citations, if someone, goes to trial, people have to answer for those citations.
Correct. You know, and the courts in our state are closed. I don't know how it is in Ohio, but I know
Ours
ours
are
are.
closed, but they're still scheduling arraignments and stuff, so they're definitely gonna
Okay.
have their day in court. It's just, again, they're citing the state health emergency stuff as to why they're continuing them.
Right. Okay. Well, I do wish that gentleman luck. You know, and gets it
Definitely.
dismissed. That's all I can say. But I like I said, I definitely appreciate you at least listening, lending an ear, and hearing what what my concern was with it. So,
Yeah, definitely,
you
sir.
know,
I totally understand.
and you be very safe and have a very blessed day, rest of your evening,
Thank you. I
for sure.
appreciate it. You have a decent evening as well.
Thank you. All right.
All right. Bye bye.
Yep. Bye.